Good afternoon. Praise the Lord. Welcome to the Friday Conversations with Reverend Alan. We thank God for this opportunity to air this show time and again. I just want to invite the host of the show to take us through what we are going to discuss for today. Karibu sana, Reverend Alan.
Thank you. We bless the Lord. Last week we started a series on toxic relationships. We wanted to help us to know, to understand, and on how to deal with toxic relationships. We defined what a toxic relationship is. We also spoke about a toxic person, and therefore we intend to continue with toxic relationship for a while. Today we will deal with a toxic husband. Who is a toxic husband? And we want to discuss on how we can survive with toxic husbands, because of the necessity in relationship to have somebody. Sometimes you call them a husband. We want to see on how we will live with them.
Oh, that's very nice, very encouraging, a wonderful topic it is. We are going to talk about toxic husbands. With us is Vicar Reverend Nicholas Rotich, Vicar SK Belgut. Karibu tu sana.
Asante.
Our able counselor psychologist Janet Surum Kiplagat, lecturer, University of Kabianga. Karibu.
Thank you.
I want to take this opportunity to begin this show by just a general question. Who is a husband?
Maybe I can start as I host you. Personally, I take a husband to be a man that is married to a woman. The relationship is called a marriage relationship. For you to be a husband, the relationship is called a marriage relationship. But I would want to widen that which we call a marriage relationship from the conservative one, whereby there's an official knowledge that someone has married you, into anybody that assumes that role as a provider, as a protector, that role of a man into your life as a woman, of a man into your life as a woman. Leave alone, a father is a man into our lives, but there is a man into your life as a woman. So I would go to boyfriends, I would go to those who keeps on sneaking in and out of your house, I would go to those who act as sponsors into your life. I would call all of them a husband.
I want to continue to ask Reverend, who is a husband?
Yes, a husband, I want to pick up from where Reverend Alan left in terms of definition. And it's a man, and maybe go down a bit and say it's a male in your life who acts as in terms of conjugal rights, as well as playing the role of why are you laughing? And playing the role of provider. Yes, because your father can still provide for you, but then cannot take you to that level of playing the role of a husband. So in this case, male, married or in relationship with a female, and enjoying all the rights and privileges in terms of conjugal rights.
Thank you. Janet, what is your understanding from a woman's perspective? Who is a husband?
Okay, I thank God first for being here again today, and even for this topic. Let me say that, like our men of God have said, a husband to me is a male figure who is bound to you in any way, and they're supposed to defend you, provide for you, secure you, assure you, and love you. Without love, there's no husband.
Thank you. Do you have something to say, Reverend?
Yeah, actually, I would say, as Reverend has said, a father can do a role of provision. A father can do a role of protection. What makes a man different, a husband different from your father, is the conjugal part. He has been given an access to you, to a woman in a conjugal way. That's number one. What makes also him different is he owns a woman by virtue of marriage. The husband owns a woman by virtue of being a father, the child by virtue, a son by virtue that this is my mother. But this one is by virtue, you are brought together by a marriage relationship. Two shall become one, according to the Bible. But I say I would want to break it further so that we can cover anybody that has an access, a conjugal access to a woman. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we continue with this show. We discuss about toxic husbands, and we've given different definitions from this wonderful panelist. And I want to ask, what are some of the red flags in a man whom you call a husband in terms of toxicity? What are some of the pointers? What are some of the indicators as we want to discuss? What are some of the things that, so that we can understand who a toxic husband is?
Okay, maybe I would come back to where we were the other time as we discussed about a toxic person. To be a toxic husband, you have to be a toxic person who is a husband. So it's just a toxic person that has been given a cloth of a husband. Now the toxicity begins to manifest in a husband. So I would start by saying a toxic husband is that husband that abuses the wife, is that husband that uses the wife, is that husband that keeps on hurting the wife, is that husband that is passive in the life of the wife, is that husband that causes aggression in the life of the wife. So I would actually begin by saying that can be described as a toxic husband. If a husband is absent and keeps on appearing when he wants something from the wife, maybe he wants to give the wife a child, or the husband keeps on disappearing when he has a lot of money, when he's broke, he comes to the wife, he gets shelter there, just using the wife. And then when he's strong again, he runs to another woman or he runs away. Or the husband keeps on disappearing, and then when he has a certain trouble, that's the time he appears to the woman. That is one of the indicator that you are dealing with a toxic husband. And he maybe has manipulated you so good, he goes and stays away for several months, then he appears when he wants you. For 2 weeks, he leaves a woman with a child. I've seen a lot of that. Then he disappears again, he comes back, just like that. I would say this is a toxic, this is an indicator.
But are those husbands who don't disappear? They stay with you in the house. What are some of the red flags?
I'm saying that's one of the indicators.
Okay.
The one who keeps on disappearing, so that I allow others to.
Okay.
It takes a different dimensions. Where those ones, apart from nagging, apart from even sometimes abstaining. Because when we talked about some of the rights and privileges that we as husbands are to give to our wives, our spouses, you give, but then also sometimes you abstain from those rights and privileges. So if a person is at home and not providing, if a person is at home and not giving you security, and can be security physically, can be security in terms of social security, defending you. Sometimes a person may actually disappear from giving you the rights that you deserve as a wife or as a spouse, a female spouse in that case. And so we can say it is a misuse. It can say it's an abuse. We can say it's also it could be actually kind of defilement, even in terms of bed, because everything that you ought to enjoy, you are not getting. Or even if you get them as someone saying, hey, am I not doing this? It's like somebody is taking advantage of you. So for me, we can say a toxic husband is one who abuses and who misuses, who abstains, or even who engages when he is there, but then in a bossy way. That is what I may want to say.
Janet.
Okay, that was the man's perspective, which is also right. And in my thoughts, toxic husband first is one who does not love the woman. Even the Bible says that husbands, love your wife, and love in all dimensions. I mean, you see, when you love someone, it's not this love, this kind of the toxic husband. They tell you I love you so that you can forgive them when they've made a mistake, but they don't mean the love. A toxic, you get me? A toxic husband also has extramarital affairs. A toxic husband does not support you in your dreams. And by the way, this one, we said that we mean even those boyfriends, those men in your life who are chasing you, but they are not even chasing your dreams. And they would rather you be a housekeeper than moving around chasing your dreams. Remember the times of our parents, most of the wives used to be told, and it happens even today, leave your job and take care of the children. That is toxicity. But in a subtle way. It is passive aggressive, but it is toxicity. There are this kind of husbands, again, boyfriend, etc. When they marry you, they separate you from your family and your friends. So your life is intertwined in this man from morning to evening, always checking where you are, what you are doing. You say that you're getting out of work at 5, you are not yet here. Yeah? You're not supposed, by the way, there are some people when they get married, when they get hooked to these people, they cannot even access their families. Even, it's like they become separate from the unit. That is also a mark of toxicity.
Yeah, we can still enrich that part. Eh? You remember we said toxic people is always about themselves, about me. Every time you see a man in your life that you want to call them a husband, it's about himself. If it is food, it's about himself. If it is education, it's about himself. If it is sex, it's about himself. That is a toxic husband. We say he uses you. When he converts a woman, the wife, you know, I've seen many men that only come to their women for money. They keep on taking your money. They take your salary, they go disappear, abuse the salary. They just use you for your money. You keep on giving them your money. That's a toxic man or husband in your life. If they just abuse you every time, you see someone beats you up every time, insults you, rough you up in front of people or even in front of children or even in private, stopping you from speaking, denying you freedom to express yourself, to relate with others. They are very insecure when they see a wife with any other man, including their own brother. I've seen a husband that he doesn't want his wife to stay with his brother. When he finds them, he beats the wife. That's a toxic husband. Another thing I would actually say is in abuse, they keep on exposing you and your family to danger. He goes out there, he's beaten, you go pick him. He goes out there, he takes debts, they come and sell your family properties, or they attach your salary. He goes out there, he engages in conjugal relationships, he brings sickness. I've seen many women that their men have brought them STI. That's a toxic husband. He goes out there, he sleeps with other people, then he comes back to the house. And also, because we've said our definition of husband wants to be wide, he is serving his own wife at home. And then he sneaks out, he comes, sleeps into your house, does whatever he does, no food, no anything, then he runs back to his own wife. He leaves the woman hanging. That's a toxic man that looks like a husband unto you, just using you and running back. So I would actually say that's how you understand that I am having a toxic husband.
And maybe in a relationship, the toxic boyfriend is non-committal. You've related with this guy forever. forever. It's very non-committal. He keeps on promising you year in, yeah, I'll take you home. Another sign of toxic relationship, when you are dating a man, he does not want to talk about his family, doesn't want to talk about his friends. He wants only you two. And those are some of the things that are red signs. Before you say the vow of I do, you need to save yourself. Another toxicity in boyfriend is this guy who they want you to feel like it's a privilege for you to date them. They tell you don't know how many girls are waiting for me outside there. So you feel like, hey, I really need to fight for this guy. So they build something there around, a clout around them. And when it comes to even men who are toxic, there's the issue of pathological lying. And I want us to talk about it. That's a very important thing. Lying.
Just a minute, even before we go to the pathological liars, and I don't know why most of them are men. Yeah. But for this...
We will be coming to it. That's when you'll discover that also most of them are women.
Okay, these toxic men, let me say men, most of them, some of them cannot spend money on you. They are perpetually broke and they have money, but they cannot spend on you.
But they can spend on somebody else.
Very comfortably and even in excess. You see, let us just tell the men that, and even the ladies, if someone loves you, actually, they must spend on you. How now? If how can you claim
is laughing
that you are loved and someone cannot? You are always paying your fare. You're always paying for the dates. That is what will happen in marriage. That is exactly what will happen. Don't expect this person to change. Another thing, they always tell you are bad. You know, the way we said that toxic people always see your bad side. But they tell you are bad, but they cannot let you go. You are bad. But no, you are mine. You see? So, those ones in toxic relationships, beware of these people who keep telling you are bad, but cannot let you go because you are bad. Yes.
You see, as you said about commitment, you said they don't marry you. They relate with you forever. And in the process, they are relating with other people. They keep on taking some people home and not you. They relate with you forever. It is because one sign of a toxic man or toxic husband is lack of commitment. It's not taking you home because he's not committed to you. And you will always also see them, as Janet says, you are the only one who is spending. They don't spend on you. They are not committed to you. You know, when I'm committed to something, I spend. So he's never committed to you. And I like also what she said. She said, husbands that have extramarital affairs, even wives that have extramarital affairs, they are toxic. They are toxic spouses. Why? Because they are exposing you. I've seen some women getting ashamed in the street by the extramarital affairs, the one that they are relating with their husbands. I've seen some women who have been turned into becoming toxic wives or toxic women in the society, running up and down following women that have been sleeping with their husbands. The husbands have turned them into becoming toxic. Now, when you spoke about most of them are pathological liars, remember we defined toxic person is a person who takes advantage of your emotional weakness. And to get you emotionally, some lies must play. This man is calculative. He knows where your weakness is, and he knows where to get you and how to get you and how to maintain you and to keep you in that toxic relationship, even though you are suffering. Therefore, he has to play some lies here and there. Sometimes he lies about himself. Sometimes he lies about yourself, or he lies about some situation so that you cannot find an excuse of leaving him. You cannot validate your actions of leaving him. Sometimes they lie to you so that, again, you don't find the truth that you can use as a ground of leaving them. Let us say a pathological liar who is a toxic husband, that he doesn't want to support the wife financially. He will even lie about his salary. He will even lie about his sources of finances. They talk a lot of money and then they tell you, you know, somebody came. I've seen this thing. Somebody calls you and say, you see, I want to buy a piece of land somewhere, and I want this and this amount of money from you. And since you love him, and you remember we say toxic relationship, people are concerned about love only. They don't look about those other factors like trust, loyalty, and all those things. So they have to be a toxic man, even to be a toxic son, you have to be a pathological liar to maintain it. But unfortunately is that your victim always know that you are lying, but they don't have courage to walk out of you. So they entertain the lies.
Yes. Yes, we are handling toxicity in kind of married life. And in this case is that relationships actually ought to be one which you can exhibit, you can show. Yeah, married life is you show one man in a context of Christianity, one man, one woman. Yeah, and that one is said to be allowed. There are principles governing that. When you have one man, one woman married and bound, and they enjoy different rights and privileges. That is what we've said. And now, if you engage in a different relationship, now that different relationship you want to justify yourself, but then the rest are not justifying. The rest are not saying okay to it. And so what you want to do in that case is that you want to operate in lies, under the water, kind of submarine, kichini, so that it cannot come out and be shown to the public that this is what you are doing. And so in that kind of a way is that one has to be lying every moment, because it takes emotions to love someone. It takes time to commit to ourselves, to an individual. But then also, it takes resources, money. Yeah, it takes some efforts for a husband to, to spend. You invest in a person, one wife or one woman. Now, if you are tired of a relationship of one, and now you want to say you've loved another one, and you want to show love to all, but then you cannot love all without disappointing the first one, then a person lies. And for me, we want to caution even men who are engaging in maybe different relationships, and it can be toxic, that he who has loved several, has not loved even one. Yeah, it's only that has lasted for a while. Yes, severally.
Thank you. Janet, what is your take on pathological lying?
My thoughts about it, it is just like they have said, it is, can I say it is a correlate? It is a correlate of toxicity. So a person who is toxic has, one of the symptoms is pathological lying, because lying means you're hiding something, you're hiding the truth. So I don't have much to say, because I remember we talked about it, but I'll just say that it is one of the signs. And you know, these pathological liars, like Reverend said, they know how to play around with their victims. One indicator or one example, for example, you see these men who keep fathering children and then they leave you. They were toxic from the word go. And if you check again, they were pathological liars. But we refuse to see the signs. Most men who sire children and leave them, like even some even leave the moment you tell them you're pregnant or you're expectant, that was a toxic person from the word go. The red flags that we are talking about is what you, who has not experienced this situation, need to take into consideration. If, again, there's something I wanted to say, but I've forgotten.
Thank you. There is the other issue whereby they focus on your problems and they ignore their own. They always, they focus on your problems. They keep on pointing your problems, yet they have bigger problems than you. Yeah. So they pick small things and they ignore you. I want us to take a short break and we'll be right back. Check with us on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. Keep following our conversation every Friday. It's getting better and bigger. Thank you. All right, karibuni on our second half, and I want to begin by asking us a question. Do these toxic husband or boyfriends or sponsors know that they are toxic?
Okay. As I handle that, a toxic person needs to control the victim. Lies is the tool of controlling the victim. I would actually say that. Now, do they know that they are toxic? Sometimes they know, but not to the extent that they are supposed to know. They know that I am not good, but they think there's a fallacy, there's a deception in their mind that they think that they are clever, they are sharp, and they are heroes. That's how they are succeeding in playing this woman. So they know I don't behave well, but they don't call themselves toxic. They think that I am so clever and I'm a hero. Look at a drunkard husband who keeps on coming home, selling land, taking the wife's money, leaving them, spend the money, coming back, sweet talk them, then go back. That one is a very toxic husband. But how he manages to convince the family and the wife and the children to keep on yielding to them, the man begins to feel like I am clever, I'm sharp. And if you find them in their den, they always praise themselves on how sharp they are. I had an experience, not of a toxic husband, because I am a man. I had a relative who is close to me, and this is the mind, this is the psychology of a toxic person. A relative, and he had called me and told me, Alan, you see, send me some money, you have to support me a little bit, I have a program I want to do. Then I said, yes, I will do that. He forgot to disconnect the phone, and I kept on listening to him. And the people around him were celebrating him, that you are so clever. Eh? You have managed to lie to the pastor to give you money. And he said, you see, these people are pretending, but they are not clever enough. We can always have money from them. So that is their psychology. They feel like they are achievers when they manage you. So they know that they are toxic, but they don't know the name, and they don't call it by the name. They give it a positive meaning. Yeah.
Yes, we have one father of lies, who is the Satan, yeah, Shetani, and actually he duped Eve, lying completely and distorting the truth all the time. And what was your question? The question was,
Does this husband,
this
boyfriend,
yes,
this sponsor, all those category of people who play husbandry, are they aware that they are toxic?
Yes, we sometimes as men, we may not be aware of ourselves. Yeah, because in terms of how we operate is that you could be knowing the truth about yourself, but then it could be also a weakness about yourself or a strength about yourself. But then many of us as husbands is that some of them want to operate in a different kind of way, which is not correct way. And so they operate by using lies, as we have said. They also operate by using their strength. And so they know, they are conscious of what they are doing. They are conscious of the general principle that it is correct to do this thing the right way, some of the things in married life. But then when they lie, they are using that so that they can disable the victim, and in that case, the wife. So for me, the boyfriend, in that case, they know, and they are using it. Sometimes a python, as I've said, a python has some venom in themselves. And that venom is inbuilt. It is innate. And if someone is not conscious of that truth, and the truth about God and how they are created, so they may not know exactly that they are lying. It could be that this is a way, this is a kind of a value. They esteem lies, thinking that it is true, but then it is not. And so they may not know in some way.
Okay. Janet.
In this case, I will say that some may know, some may not know. The justification is that you see, these toxic people who are ready to go for counseling to be helped, they don't know. But a toxic person who is not even ready to seek help, that person knows. Remember, we say that the backbone of toxicity or toxic relationships is heroism. The person who subdues the other person feels like a hero. And so, these ones who are ready to be helped, just make your observation. These ones who are ready to be helped are not aware to a greater extent. But these ones who dodge, they are not ready to seek help, are fully aware. That's why someone will tell you, najua tu atakasirika hivyo lakini atakubali tu, atarudi. Wacha tu aende akae kwao, akichoka atarudi. Because they have studied your mind. They know your psychology. And just to add again something about what I've seen in some families in the current generation, and that is a wake-up call again to our men. There's this group of there's these toxic marriages or relationships where there's someone called a caretaker woman. The man sits comfortably doing nothing. They cannot help you in the house, they cannot help you even in the compound, they cannot help you in the home. And then you're up and down toiling. You see, that's not how God created it. And the women are there working from morning to evening. You find the man there, and these toxic men, they are very good to people outside. So everyone says, you have a very good boyfriend, you have a very good husband. But in the real sense, you are really struggling. And if you do not know yourself, you will just continue in that drama. Honestly, a man is supposed to provide.
I think the essence of them being good outside there is a defense mechanism.
It is.
So that they gag you. You cannot go to their mother, you cannot go to their boss, you cannot go to their friends to tell them they are bad. Outside there, they are very joyful, they are very generous, they are very good. It's a weapon. They make sure people outside there celebrate them. People outside there acknowledge and clap them. He's the best boss. He's the best teacher. He's the best pastor. He is the best singer. He's the best driver. So people keep on celebrating them, very celebrating them. We usually have this conversation. There's this taxi man, ladies love. We call him a TLC. He's tender, loving, and care. And you'll find his wife complaining. We will say, no, you are the bad one. Because this taxi man, he will carry you, ask you how your day was. He will help you out with the baggages. He'll tell you, take your time. But we kept on joking with one of our friends. I call them girlfriends because we are all women. Maybe this man is not good as we think to his wife. So the main purpose of them playing good out there is the best preacher, the best prayer person. People, he's outside there, it's some defense mechanism so that he gags you. You cannot really stand up and say, he bet me. You cannot stand up and say, he did this to me. People will say, you're the bad one.
You're the bad one.
I've seen someone, he batters the spouse. And then after he commands you to clean up, dress well, you go shopping together, then go visit your mother. You take things there. The mother praises the son-in-law, and the woman cries in the inside. Actually, is a mechanism to maintain the status quo, so that he may reduce those people that can raise the red flag that there's a problem. But I would actually also want to contribute. You know, have you discovered that we're using the term the victim? Every time we speak about toxic, we speak about the victim. The victim is a person who receives the pain of toxicity. So the toxic man is the aggressor. The recipient is a victim. Now, in a toxic relationship, it's like the husband has pressed the woman down, the wife down. The wife cannot raise up their head. The wife is down. Now, what happens is that the man is so sure that this one cannot raise up their head. He has killed their willpower to walk into freedom in whatever way they would want to walk. The toxic person kills the willpower by taking advantage of love and taking advantage of other factors to make sure that my victim cannot get out of this prison. First, he makes sure that you fear walking out of the prison because of what will people say. Second, he makes you to fear of walking out of the freedom because you may lose him. Another one is you are dependent on him. How am I going to survive without him? I better continue suffering, but I don't lose this person. Therefore, I would actually say he has killed the willpower of the wife completely. The wife cannot walk out of that freedom. You have to remain there as he keeps on oppressing you, suppressing you, doing all the things that he's doing unto you.
Even the girlfriend.
Yeah.
So we are talking in both cases, those who are in a relationship. And
Because
those
we
who
say
are
you become
already
dependent on that person.
And I think Reverend has raised a very good point. I don't know if that's something we are supposed to talk about, but the effect, the greatest effect to a woman who is in a toxic
married.
relationship
We're just
is
about to head there.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Anything else? So this person may be aware, this person may not be aware, which leads me to this discussion question. What are some of the effects we see in the girlfriends or the wives? Effect. Janet.
Yeah, I wanted to say.
Yeah, let me say the greatest or the most I don't know what to call it, because I believe it's the strongest, is low self-esteem. This person has been smitten life, right, left, center, and you can just see this is a person, and you see this thing is sometimes mistaken for submission. This is a submissive girlfriend, wife, etc. But in the real sense, wamekanyagwa. You see, so that person who has let go of themselves, they are dressing, etc. Most of the time, it's not because they don't know how to dress, but it's just that it is too toxic. I remember there's a friend of mine who told me that when she laughs, the husband tells her, "Who in this world laughs like that?" Like, and she told me that, I mean, when she's so joyful, and then there's that natural laughter that comes. The person asks, "Who just listen? Everywhere is quiet."
The worst thing you can do to your wife is to take her elsewhere and say, "I want you to dress like so and so.
Yeah.
I want the hairstyle like so and so." And body shapes and everything. There is a girl who walked in my office and told me, this boyfriend of his has already put rules. And I want you to dress like so and so. I want you to walk like so and so. I told her, please run and don't look back. Yes, men.
So I would say
This conversation.
the effect on the wife or on the woman, the recipient, is a dead willpower. The toxic person makes you to be so dependent on him and on staying on the relationship that you are not strong enough to leave him. You feel like you will die without him. So your willpower to make a decision out of that toxicity is no longer there. Your willpower to say no to the abuse is no longer there. You just have to submit to live in oppression and depression throughout your life. Number two, I would say a killed image. The one that you are calling low self-esteem. They kill your image to the level that your image, your survival in the matter of image is solely dependent on him. That if you leave him, you are nothing without him. If you tell people what you are going through, they will laugh at you. Therefore, you will become nothing. And that's why people go into depression to the level of killing themselves, because their image is already dead. Remember, the toxic person makes you to believe that you cannot do without him. In fact, one of his mentality is, now what will you do? He takes the money, spoils it, you do everything, you complain, and then at some point he say, do whatever you want to do, what will you do? Because he knows very well you are dependent on him and your image depends on him. So the two things is the image is dead and the willpower is dead. And even your own ability to survive in life is dead. You say, now how am I going to survive? You could be earning more than them, and then you feel like you will not survive when they are not there. So I think dead image, dead willpower would be my...
You lose your power, that willpower, but then also you lose your power. We talk so much about emancipation of women, women empowerment. And we are talking about women empowerment in terms of in terms of the way they need to go to school, they need to be empowered in terms of their rights. But you see, if we do have in our marriages, in our relationships, men who are domineering and killing that willpower, then these women actually become a captive for long, captive forever, actually. Well, others are abused sexually. And so being abused sexually is that you cannot decide on even the number of children you want. And so some marriages, you could be seeing a battered wife, a battered woman every time expectant, almost every year expectant, because they just say yes to anything. Yeah. Or they lose their image, they lose their beauty. You see, there is a woman is created by God, wonderfully made, actually, wonderfully created. And so one should exhibit that beauty, that glory, that Shekinah on you. Yeah? But then if you live a life which is mateso too, mateso too, you become a beacon of mateso. And so some of these effects, a venom, actually poison. If a poisonous man actually gets into that woman, because every moment he gets into her, and so you take that poison to yourself. I know of a man who, well, he was promiscuous, and so he became so much promiscuous until the wife said, kama anatembea nje, bora hata mimi nitembee. So akitembea ninatembea. Yeah, it's that kind of a way. And so that toxic, actually you lose your values. You lose your values because of somebody else actually who actually lost his own values. And so yourself, you say, akitembea ninatembea.
And I think that's why what Reverend is saying is very true, because toxic masculinity leads to toxic femininity. Yeah. That's why you see, even when you see Facebook, there's a group of bitter women who are trying to liberate themselves, but in a wrong way. It's because they've been handled by toxic men, but they are not aware. You see, they are not aware. Some are even used to the circle of abuse. It becomes like your daily bread. So one of the effects is toxic femininity. When you see these women who are trying to empower themselves, saying marriage is not everything, even those who are married are suffering. What? You see, marriage is beautiful. The truth is, if you find the right man, he is everything. Yeah.
I would add on that. They push the woman. The toxic husband pushes the wife to develop some toxic behaviors that again would hit on her and other people. Like, for instance, as Pastor says, the woman begins to revenge or to lose her own guards. Another thing, she will begin to be a liar also, to be secretive. She'll begin to develop. I've seen women that are doing their own investments secretly. So they don't want the husband to know because the husband is destructive. It pushes the woman to begin to behave almost the same way the man is behaving. Actually, most wives of toxic husbands at some level, they also start extra marital relationship. I found some people are laughing at the man that he thinks he's clever enough, but there's somebody who is satisfying the wife when the man is away. So it becomes a cycle of pain and a cycle of problem. It's actually not a good thing.
And toxic children.
Yeah, and the children become toxic. I've seen in cultural setup, the mother and the children working together to deal with the toxic father.
The father.
And diseases as well.
Yeah.
And also divorce.
Yes,
it
the
ends
divorce.
up to divorce. It ends up to separation. We've seen it.
Broken
ending up to
families.
murder. Yeah, murder. Yeah, either spouse is killed. And nowadays, women kill in cold blood. They really don't care. In days past, you could really don't even think of your husband dying. But nowadays is the talk of the day. They really don't care. They will kill you.
Or suicide.
Yeah.
And you know, the only problem is that the toxic husband keeps on thinking that I've conquered this one. She will never liberate herself. And the problem with the toxic wife keeps on thinking, my husband will one day change. They both live in a lie. The lie of the wife is until the wife now begins to get the lie. Say, if he sleeps outside, provided he comes back home.
Maybe we've seen another effect on women or girls. They keep on trying very hard to please this guy who can never be pleased.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I've seen women cutting on weights. I've seen women bleaching. You see this bleaching thing?
Yes.
Yeah, we've seen them trying to be so and so because the standards are very high. The standards are very high. And you find them
And the goal
struggling.
keeps on shifting.
Yeah.
The tormentor keeps on shifting
Actually,
goals so that you
toxic
cannot attain.
A toxic person is very interesting. A toxic person today, you say, I love Michelle Obama. You really want to be like her. Then he changes. I love this running mate to Biden. This lady Kamala. Then you keep on looking like her. He changes. He keeps on shifting.
Yeah.
And you see,
Sometimes they even about food. Others even throw away food. Others walk away. They say, I'm not eating here. I want this food. So you keep on changing food
actually
until
they lose now. For women, another effect,
kill your identity.
they lose their goals. They begin now, it's about this man.
Even have you ever discovered some women leave church because the toxic man blames the church? So the wife thinks that if I leave church, the man will love me. So again, he keep on leaving job. I've seen women abandoning their jobs, abandoning church, abandoning their friends, trying to make this man happy.
So the effect is deep, the effect is
And
bad,
it's hurting.
and the effect now begins a cycle of toxic femininity. And it's very interesting. As we want to end this show quickly, how do we deal with a toxic husband?
Maybe you can start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start with Viveka, then Janet, then Reverend Alan will give us his closing.
Well, it depends on it depends on this lady, and like if they are married, yeah, and married life is permanent, and so one needs to really confront, confront from the word go. If you sense that someone is abusing you or is misusing you, just speak the truth. Tell it to the person that this is it. So that is the way you can begin handling a toxic person. Or report. We have these we have married counselors. Yes. Yeah. In marriage counselors. Maybe visit there. Premarital counseling is good in terms of trying to explore which ways, who is this person you want to get married to. And so you can tell a few things before you get engaged into a serious business. So that is for me what you can do. Yes.
Okay, thank you. For those who are not married, when you are in a dating relationship or anything, you identify the red flags that we have talked about. And the moment you see them, don't think that this person will change. It's hard to change a man, especially. It's very hard. I think it is unknown.
That's very strong.
I'm very opinionated because I've seen what I've seen, but it's very hard to change a man. So the moment you start seeing, when you start seeing red flags, you better do away with this thing. Mapema. Number 2, stop being a people pleaser. Most likely, you'll end up in a toxic relationship. Learn to set your boundaries. Have your personal boundaries and let it be known to this other person, even as early as when you're dating, so that they don't expect a lot from you when you're married. Because before you get to this person, you're an individual. Don't lose your individuality in this other man. Whether you see them as an angel before dating, whether they look like they're the best person in the world, please have your boundaries. And like Reverend has said, speak up. When you see something that is not what you agree with, speak up. Say, I'm not happy with this. Say, stop snooping, stop doing this. Snooping can lead to toxicity. Now, those are for the people who are dating. For those people who are married, you'll have to see a marriage counselor, because it's not easy to break a marriage. But when your life is threatened, the best thing to do is to let go, as hard as it may be. And to those people who have managed to let go, because we did this topic last week and we are doing it this week, but I know someone who has already let go of a toxic person. So to those people who have managed to let go of toxic relationships in these few days that we've discussed, you are our hero today. Last but not least, stop seeking happiness in the same place that you lost it.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe one day I'll call you people in a conversation about, can one leave marriage?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, can one leave marriage? The issues of divorce and all those things. Maybe we will get some time to discuss. It's actually a very controversial topic. If you want to respond, we will take care the whole month. But I also discovered that Janet comes from a school of thought that if someone was not changed by their mother, they can never be changed by their wives. And by the way, most of these toxic husbands, they were raised in toxicity by their mothers. That thing was entertained and entertained. Now when he grows up, it continues. So it's actually, as Jared says, it's hard to change. It's hard to change a toxic man. If you are in a relationship and you notice that behavior already, and you involve a counselor so that you can be helped to make a decision. You can change, but you have to engage the change before marriage. Don't say, I see many girls say, let me marry him, he will change later. It is hard to change a man or a woman that you saw the problem with them and you think you will change them after marriage. I've spoken with many people, many women that are struggling with cheating husbands. They saw the cheating when they were in a relationship. They saw it, but they said he will change. What makes you to think that you can make them change if they have not been changed by those other ones? So after responding to Janet, I would want to say to walk out of to deal with a toxic husband or a toxic husband, first of all is for you to accept that you are a victim of a toxic husband or a toxic man. You have to accept. You have to know, then accept. That's why we've been giving the red flags. You have to see the way this man is bullying me, abusing me, misusing me. You have to say, no, this is not normal. This is an abusive man, and I am a victim of this man. I keep on responding to their abuse to give them whatever they want. That is the first instant. Number two instant that you would actually begin to deal with a toxic husband is to begin to redefine yourself. Love thyself. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. If you are hurting thyself for the sake of loving this man, you are in an ungodly principle. So if you need to come to a place and appreciate yourself, a woman is to be respected. Actually, a woman is to be respected, to be honored, to be loved. A woman is to be taken care of in a tender way. A woman is a tender being. So you must begin to demand it not from that man, but from yourself. You tell yourself, this is my right. This is what I need to be a wife. Actually redefine who a wife is and tell yourself, this needs to happen to me for me to be a wife. And then number three, now begin to see the magnitude. How far has this thing gone? Can I stop it? Try to stop it. Try to address it. Speak out. Don't die alone and pretend that let me keep quiet. I don't want to shame my man, or I don't want to shame myself. You will die as you're hiding. So speak it out. Shout. Cause the people to know. Speak to his bosses. Speak to his mother and father. Speak to your children. Let other people come in. And lastly, if it is not changing, give him a break. I'm not speaking about divorce. Give him a break and cut a clear boundary. Give him a break, separate, stay in a different house until not you, until him. Yeah. He makes a decision that he wants to treat you as a wife, not as any other woman. Yep.
Interesting and interesting conversation here. I don't want to speak much. I don't want to be opinionated. All I want to say is, God have mercy as we end this show. God bless you. Thank you for watching.